Hello, and welcome to today's video from the Polaris Orchestra. Aware of the inequity on American stages, Polaris is an ensemble dedicated to addressing the exclusive nature of the orchestra. Please lend us your support by visiting our website at polarisorch.org. That's POLARISORCH.org. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday Talk. I am your host for these multiple person Tuesday Talk sessions, Jaman E. Dunn, the founder and music director of the Polaris Orchestra. And with me today is my really great friend and colleague, Brian Nowak, who is one of our collaborating musicians who plays horn with the Polaris Orchestra. And so today we are really delving into the humanness of us as musicians, as Brian already chuckles because he knows what's coming. And we are going to sort of talk about what do we do outside of music. A lot of people consider musicians as these people that don't really necessarily have outside lives because we have to spend so many hours in a practice room honing our craft and preparing, to be on stage to perform at the highest level. And so people say, well, what do you do in your free time? Do you have free time? What's going on? And so Brian and I are here today to tell you a little bit about things we enjoy in our free time. And you might realize that we are way closer to you than you might have originally thought. So with that, and my Death Star mug, of course, Brian, what do you like to do that is not playing horn?
Well, there's a lot of things, but there is part of it that we're all very hopelessly, what's the word? What's the word? Introverted, because we're all stuck in practice rooms for
Mhm.
countless hours. But we're not doing that. I really like playing video games or watching sports. I'm a humongous hockey fan. I'll
Mm.
watch hockey every day of the week, but I'm also from Michigan, so that kind of makes
Yeah, that's kind of part of the part of the thing, I guess. Part of the gig. You're from a northern Midwestern state in hockey, or just a northeastern state, and hockey's like, here we are.
right.
So
It
yeah.
didn't help that the Red Wings were just the cream of the league for 30 years. Not anymore. Not anymore. They're
Yeah,
falling
there we go.
on hard times.
I'm from Chicago, those of you that may have forgotten. So if I were sort of a diehard hockey fan, I would be a Blackhawks fan. However, I have not paid as much attention to hockey as some other sports. But anyway.
That's all right.
Yeah. I guess as far as sports go, so would you consider hockey your favorite sport?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that. I like baseball a lot too. I played baseball growing up as a kid. So I mean, baseball is near and dear to my heart too. Um, I like
I
watching football as
mhm,
well. I wouldn't quite. I mean, I can't say that I'm like the biggest football fan, but I know of it.
mhm.
Like I know how the game works and everything like that. Like I'm not.
I'm laughing because that's sort of a stereotype. It's just like musicians don't care about sports, they care about the musics. And I am here to be a direct refute to that, or direct rebuttal, so to speak, to that. I grew up, as I said, in Chicago. Chicago is one of the great sports towns of the country. And in Chicago, sort of following sports is more of a way of life slash command than a suggestion. So, but I enjoy the sports that I do follow. So, Bears fan, Bulls fan, and then people always
Okay.
ask the coveted question, White Sox or Cubs. And I know that I used to kind of just try to keep myself under wraps. So I am from the South Side, which should mean that I'm a White Sox fan because White Sox or Cubs normally means, North side of Chicago, South side
Right.
of
Yeah,
Chicago.
yeah, for sure.
Um, but I do like the Cubs a lot. Um, and part of that, I guess, was part of my coming out process because Chicago's neighborhood, if you will, is right where Wrigley Field is. And so I was kind of,
Oh.
trying to figure myself out. And the Cubs were right there. And I was like, let's look at the Cubs. But I like them both equally. If either of them is in the playoffs, I will root for them as a Chicagoan. When they're playing each other, it depends on how I feel that day. So, but
Yes.
baseball is my favorite sport, which is funny because a lot of people that I've run into have said that, baseball's boring. How is it interesting? They just sit there and it's hours and you just, and my whole thing is that I love playing chess, and baseball is kind of like chess to me from the perspective of the pitcher. It's like,
Mhm.
you're trying to outsmart the person that wants to hit the ball to,
I actually
you
read an article at some point that there's actually more action, so to speak, in a
mm-hmm,
baseball game than there is in a football game. We just don't really
mm-hmm,
realize it. Both sports only have like I think it's like 20 or so minutes of action, but like
right.
technically baseball edged football, which I think is kind of funny because
Mm-hmm.
no one really cares about a 3 hour football game. It's like, oh, that's just football, but
Yeah.
baseball can't take 3 hours. It's like, well, so
Yeah, some of the fastest baseball games have been like under 2 hours, like an hour and 50 minutes. When I
Justin
was
Verlander throwing gas. That's just how
Oh,
the pitch.
there you go. See, Verlander throwing gas. I remember when Burley, I think it was Burley's perfect game, maybe with the White
Oh yeah,
Sox. Yeah, so Mark Burley's perfect game was like real fast. There are all these quick. John Smoltz, all you Atlanta Braves fans out there, Smoltzy, he's just he's crazy. Greg Maddux in his prime, Tommy Glavine. I could just go on. Clearly, I love baseball, so I could just kind of, just go on. But the one thing I do want to say though is that for all of you people out there that may have seen sports on a screen more so than been in person, it is not the same thing. I Baseball is an experience. I'm going to be completely honest. Going to a baseball game, like watching it on TV, I don't even watch it all the way through. I have it on and I do other things, and then when I hear something, I come back to the screen. But hockey is extremely slow on TV. You go
oh,
to a hockey game,
oh, it's
things are
totally,
moving so fast.
it's
Like
totally.
I remember when I went to my first hockey game, everything was moving so fast. Like I was like, no wonder I didn't understand. Because I had only seen hockey on the TV screen. And when you have the benefit of panoramic cameras that just kind of slowly turn to and fro,
Right.
it's like
As the
whatever.
puck goes
Yeah,
across.
exactly. But when you're in there and you just see the puck is like flying and people are like, it's just all this crazy stuff going on.
Oh yeah,
So, it's yeah, basketball is fun too. I was more of a basketball fan back in the glory days of Michael Jordan and the Bulls.
yeah,
And then I slowly sort of, the more the game seemed to me to get more offensive than defensive is when sort of my um I guess proclivity towards it started to wane. And I know diehard basketball fans will tell me that there's still great defense in the game, there's still whatever, but the game of basketball that I prefer is the game that was played like in my childhood, like the 90s to maybe about 2005.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
For
but
sure.
yeah, but anyway, you know, it's funny because I know there's some people that are going to listen to this Tuesday talk and go sports ball, sports ball, sports ball, sports
Sports
ball.
ball,
Yeah.
sports.
Kick the puck into the hoop. Just like throw everything
That's not
together.
cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that hilarious meme. It's like, use the force, Frodo. Said what was it? Oh, use the force, Frodo, said Professor Xavier.
Ooh,
It's like something like that. It's
that's
like
just
crazy.
that's like multiverse of madness level.
So speaking of sort of you know, fandoms, what are some of your favorite fandoms?
Ooh, Star Wars, hands down. I absolutely love Star Wars. I've loved Star Wars since I was probably like 3 years old and could watch Star Wars. And so back when I was a kid, the Phantom Menace was like brand new. And so they had like all the merchandise and like the green lightsabers that were like $10 that you could like they like flick out and the
Mm-hmm.
blade would come out. And I remember going to the store, like going grocery shopping with my mom and being like, "Mom, can I get one of those?" She goes, "No, no, 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 you don't need any of those." And so I was like, "Okay, whatever." Like as I do, and I'm four, and I go home and I'm just watching Return of the Jedi because it's just either on VHS or TV or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Dad, they sell lightsabers at the store. Can I get one?" And of course, my dad's like, "Sure, like this is the greatest thing that's ever happened." It's like, "Of course, I'm gonna buy you your first lightsaber." And so, of course, my mom is like, "John, no, no," and my dad's like, "Well, I already said yes, so
I can't go back on my word to my
right."
kid. I just can't. Uh, I am so pained by the fact that I said yes.
Right.
Oh man. No, some of you are gonna laugh at me and say, Jamon, that was a targeted question, because those of you that know me know that I breathe Star Wars. I love it to death. From seeing 4, 5, and 6 growing up to the releases of 1, 2, and 3, and all of the expanded universe media. Some of my favorite. When I was a kid, I was a huge reader. And so I really love to just go to the library, use my library card, and get stuff that I could read. And you will probably remember this. I think Scholastic published it, but the Jedi Apprentice series.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so after episode 1 came out in 99, they did this Jedi Apprentice series with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and you saw, stuff that they did, and cool
Yeah.
stuff and whatnot. And it was cool because it was written sort of with the length and the attention span of a early adolescent,
Right.
like
Yeah,
in
definitely
mind.
young adult. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
so yeah, so I was reading these, and so it was great, and that kind of submitted sort of my love for it. And then games came out and whatnot. Star Wars was just, I still love it to this day. I have this weird ability. So it's really funny. The original 6 movies, I have this weird ability that a lot of my friends like to test. So I can, if you give me a line from any of the original 6 movies, I can tell you who said the line, which movie it's from, what line comes next, and who said that line. And the only stipulation I give people when they do this is that they can't use R2's lines because that's
Oh
not
yeah.
fair.
Big.
Um 3PO, certain things he says like 5 million times. So if it's one of 3PO's like
Oh
common
dear.
lines, yeah, like oh dear or dear oh dear, can't use any of those. And then Chewie is off limits. Chewie's just off limits. So
Ah.
yeah, exactly. It's just, so, but other than that, it could be a line by a non-essential character, and I will know who said it. And what it's really bad because I don't know how I, sort of internalize this. It's like I occasionally say to my boyfriend, I am a font of useless information. So it's
Oh,
just
I
like,
am
who needs
one
to
rolling pop culture reference. Like it's horrible.
it's like what do you do with that? So but Star Wars is something that's really near and dear to my heart. Um I know that gaming is a huge part of our generation.
Oh yeah.
It's just a lot of people in the millennial generation and Gen Z as well, now are just avid gamers. And people of older generations like to say things like, oh, gaming is for kids, and once you get to a certain age, you stop gaming. I'm like, no, gaming is for whomever needs gaming.
It's almost like reading books now. Like
Hmm.
it draws you into a different world that you can go hang out in for 100 hours, 120 hours.
Hmm.
Like Zelda, I've dropped like 200 hours into Breath of the Wild, and you just keep roaming Hyrule.
Yep.
Like Assassin's Creed, you get to
Yep.
go be like a Viking or I don't know, like a Roman Empire person. I don't know what they're
Hmm.
necessarily called, but
Yeah,
you get to go into
probably
these different
Praetorian.
worlds
Yeah.
that you would and before could only do in books through those sorts of stories, but it's sort of become its own method of storytelling in a
Hmm.
way to
Hmm.
rival cinema and books
Hmm.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would agree that I would agree with that, because I feel so it is its own way, because the difference in the book is that you pretty much have to take on the identity of a fully fleshed out character. In a book,
Right.
as you read it, you identify with some characters, you don't identify with others. If it's written from the first person, you tend to identify with the first person sometimes. The difference with games is that there is an archetype, but games more and more these days are full of times where you can choose your own adventure,
RPG.
or yeah, or like whatever choices you make will affect sort of how you play the game. so
Hmm.
that no two people will have the same experience, you know,
Oh yeah.
which is fantastic. I think that's fantastic. Um, my parents weren't necessarily the biggest, you know, supporters of gaming or sort of just like the game. So a lot of my friends are like, "Oh my God, you didn't play Zelda? You didn't play that?" I said, "No, I barely played anything." My parents bought my brother and I an N64, and there was a sale happening for Christmas that year. I think it was a JC Penney or somebody, but N64, and it came with, we got 3 games with it. Okay, we got F1 World Grand Prix.
Oh yeah. Gee.
Yeah, Fox College Hoops 99. Yeah, right. It was very like angular. Basketball was
Oh
hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very very.
So Fox College Hoops 99. And my personal favorite, which is I think what endeared me to RPGs, which was A Bug's Life. And
Oh,
A
oh
Bug's
my
Life,
god.
yeah. The Bug's Life was one of my favorite Disney movies growing up. I love that movie. And so the Bug's Life game, you got to, be Flick and go through all the different, levels of the movie and stuff. And it was just a lot of fun. And I think that's what sort of endeared me to RPGs. Those that don't know what that means, role playing games is the acronym. Um, I think that's what you know, brought me to them, sort of just because of that experience that I had. And I loved the storytelling aspect of it and the things I had to do and sort of figuring things out. It was much more fun to me.
I came to RPGs wholly by accident.
Really.
So like when I was a kid, my parents got me a Game Boy Color back when those were the rage, and I had the purple one, you
I
know.
had one too. Oh my god.
But so I had like Super Mario and like
Mm-hmm.
whatever, all that sort of stuff. And one day out in the street, there was just this yellow cartridge sitting there. And as a 4-year old, walked 4 or 5, walked over and picked up this cartridge, and it happened to be Pokemon Yellow version. And away it went. And
Kids, don't lose your
yeah,
Pokemon games.
right.
That's amazing.
I've
Oh man.
I have no idea whose game it was. I have no clue. No one ever came looking for it, so it
Mm-hmm.
just became my yellow version, and it was
Yeah.
away to the race.
God. My Game Boy Color was a gift from somebody at my church for my birthday. Because like I said, my parents were the biggest game people. So he bought me the Atomic Purple
Yeah.
Game Boy Color, and I had 2 games for it. I had a Game Boy game, Toy Story 2. So
Ooh,
it was the RPG
the
based on.
PlayStation 2 Toy Story 2 is phenomenal.
I heard that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had Donkey Kong 60, or no, not 64, Donkey Kong Country for Game Boy Color. Yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it was great. I was just like, this is awesome. This is really cool. And so it was a lot of fun playing those games, but now, with all these new, everything just keeps getting more expensive, and then you have all these new consoles and
Yeah.
stuff. But like, you know, I use gaming as an escapism, like, and you out there, if you use gaming as an escapism, if you use it as sort of like, a stress reliever, leave a note in the comments.
Yeah.
What do what is your favorite game? What do you like to do, gaming wise? But, I play Star Wars, The Old Republic. It's MMO, another acronym, massive multiplayer online. And so that's an online game I get to play with other people, but it's in the Star Wars universe. And I get to, use my mind in all of these sort of analytical ways about, how do you, like if you're crafting, what's the crafting chance that you'll get such and such? Do you need these materials? How long does it take? How much money do you need to do this? And so stuff like that. Things like that are cool to me because figuring out numbers on sort of a level of fantasy information is a lot more calming to me.
It's all
Mostly
strategic.
be Yeah, it's strategic. That's what it is. It's all strategic, and being an artist 24/7, strategy, sort of in the cold hard world of numbers is actually fun as a release, which is hilarious because normally it's the other way around. People live in the world of cold,
Yeah.
hard numbers and they want an artistic thing as their stress reliever.
It's hilarious when people are always like, "So, what do you guys do?" Because obviously people are like, "Oh, I go listen to music when I'm stressed or this and that," and we're like running away from our instruments as fast as possible when we're stressed out. We're like, "Nah, we're just gonna go and just blinders on video game."
Yep. I know people. Yeah, that's what I do. It's like when what was that new game with Cal?
Oh,
Yeah,
Fallen Order.
yeah, Jedi Fallen Order. Like when that came out, I got it, and I was just kind of like, okay, here we go,
Oh yeah,
lightsaber.
that came out the same day as like the Pokemon game came out for the Switch, Sword and Shield,
Yeah.
and I was lucky enough to pick up both of them on the same day. It was an awesome Friday.
Do you remember? Oh my God. Do you remember the Switch craze when it first came out and we were both in Boston?
Yeah. Oh my
And
god, it was hopeless. I couldn't find a single one.
so Brian could tell you specifically about his experience with this, but I remember there being sort of like a loose cohort of us of master students at Boston Conservatory, where when one person would buy one, they would join the cohort of looking for ones that were for sale, and then they would text like this massive text chain and be like, "Hey, there's two
Hey,
in Back Bay. there's
right?
there's three
Run,
at
run,
Downtown
run.
Crossing. Run!"
Just up and leave class. Just who cares? Go get it.
Exactly.
Getting an orchestra, no matter. Run away.
That's exactly what would happen. And people would just go, and then you feel terrible because they text you. Let's say they texted you at like, 3:10 and your class is 3 to 4:30.
You're done. It's not
And
happening.
you're like, okay, next
No.
one. like you just don't even try. You just don't even try.
Yeah, I
Because you
happened to
know it's
get
gonna be
mine
gone.
because it came out, I think, in March of 2017. So like that
That
summer,
sounds right.
yeah. So I was back in Michigan at the time, and I went into the Walmart by my house, and I said, "You guys have any Switches?" And they went, "No, but we have like four in our warehouse right now, and they're scheduled to come here. Whether they come tomorrow or they come in a week, we have no idea." So I was like, okay. So, but they said they'd be on the shelf by 7 a.m. if they're here, and I'm like, okay, fine. So every day for a week, I set my alarm at 6:45 and got out of bed and drove my butt to Walmart. And every day for a week, they just wouldn't be in the case and be like, oh, come on. So, of course, the seventh day, which it almost seems
Yeah, destiny, right?
on the seventh day, he rested. No, he his alarm went off, and I went, "This isn't going to happen. Like, why am I doing this to myself?" And I still got up and went, and of course, they're just sitting in the case. I was like, "Ha!" So I'm like running around trying to find this poor store associate at 7 in the morning as
To
I'm
open
like
the case. You're like,
on the
open this
garage,
case.
right? But yes, that was my experience with
Oh my
finding the
goodness.
Switch.
Yeah, so those of you out there that think the Switch craze just happened when the pandemic started, nay, nay. It started at the very beginning.
Oh yeah. Like
At
it's
the
such a cool
very beginning.
concept
Hmm.
that not only do you have this thing that you can walk around with, but you can just drop it into a dock on a TV, and all of a sudden you're just playing all the games on TV too.
Hmm.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The closest. Yeah, I don't think anything sort of the aspect ratio. Obviously, nothing of the aspect ratio of the Switch has ever been released, but the closest thing to it, I think, was the PlayStation Portable
Yeah.
from years back.
Oh
That
yeah.
was not the best thing because it was literally like a game console that sort of acted like a CD player. And if you know the finickiness of like Sony Walkman CD players, yeah,
I
skip it
never
all
had one,
around.
but my cousin did. He liked it, but he talked about how it would like glitch
Mhm.
out on him at some points. But
Yeah, my brother had one, and the games would, sometimes the disc would scratch just because he turned it the wrong way.
Mm.
which is like weird because you're
Oh
going to
yeah, it had
hold
like
the game
those.
system
It's like
any
that
kind of way.
oblong
Yeah,
little thing, and then like only part of it was open, but the whole disc would turn.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that now.
yeah. It was an interesting ordeal, but the Microsoft went with the Xbox thing, and so
Yeah.
yeah, now here we are with the,
Yes.
what is this, the fifth generation of Xbox? Yeah, because PS5
Yeah,
and
Xbox
and the
60.
Xbox
The fourth
Series X.
generation.
No, this is the fifth generation because PS5.
We got the
Oh
Xbox.
no, fifth generation PlayStation, fourth generation of
Yeah,
Xbox.
I
There
was
we
gonna
go.
say. I think
Yeah,
Xbox is a gen behind, but
right.
I'm
Exactly,
saying
exactly,
that.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
So, yeah, but I love how Nintendo was like under the radar after the GameCube. It was just kind of like the Wii, okay, the Wii
I
U,
love the Wii.
okay.
Okay, so we had a Wii, and oh my god, did we play Wii Sports? And oh my god, my brother is accidentally one of those people that like murdered a television.
Ah,
So
see, I was just about to go there. You know how people like get angry and then the thing flings off your wrist and into the TV it goes.
we were at a family party, and we had gotten like fried chicken, like a big like party platter thing of fried chicken. You can almost see where this is going. And he had eaten the chicken, and he had the what's it called, the control, the Wii remote. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Wii
yeah,
remote
yeah, yeah.
in
The
his
Wiimote.
hand, and he was bowling. And yeah, you don't need any more explanation than that.
His greasy hand bowling.
Yep, the real bummer.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a thing.
yep. It was
Yeah.
it was fortunately or unfortunately at my grandparents' house. And so of course they were just like, it's okay, like it's not a big deal. It's just a TV, whatever. But
Yeah.
of course internally they were like, "Oh my god, this kid just killed our TV." But like they were they were very very cordial grandparents about it. They were, "Nah, it's all right. It's not a big deal."
It's all right. Breathe. It's
But
okay. Yeah, no, but yeah, it's just, yeah. That's hilarious. Oh man. Yeah, so we've covered like games, fandom,
sports, games, and fandom.
sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those three, like, it's almost like the the trinity of like escapism there for musicians. It's always one of those three or all three or yeah.
Oh.
It's like the Gabriel Iglesias skit where he's just like, oh, and then he has the doves come out and he just goes, and he does like the sound effect for the doves. I don't know how he does it because Gabriel Iglesias is perfect at sound effects. I just,
Oh yeah, he's very good at it for
yeah.
sure.
So, but yeah, there's a ton of stuff that we do, and we're real people with real, we're fans of things. Like I love cars. I also love houses. I also want to have my own house built, but that's a different story for another time. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, but like, Brian, are there any other sort of like niche things that you like doing?
Well, at least with the pandemic, I've really come to like cooking.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a really nice thing to get to learn how to do that more. I was pretty good at it before. I wasn't like, oh my God, this is incredible. But like spending more time with it, and obviously because we can't go out to eat as much and stuff like that. So we've gotten pretty big into that. Sam, who was featured on our last week's Tuesday talk, has gotten real big into sourdough making. So we have sourdough loaves on the regular. So that's really cool too.
That's awesome. I I've started baking because I didn't realize that I was in well, okay, so this is gonna sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm not. I didn't realize I was a natural until somebody told me. And so I had never baked before. Well, I had like, made my grandmother's pie recipes,
Mhm.
but she would never make her own crust because everybody that I've ever talked to about pie, about crusts for pie, they say it's the most finicky thing possible and
It
it's not
really
worth it. It's not worth trying to learn how to make it unless
um,
you know it's going to turn out exactly the same every time, which it won't. So,
not last year, but I think Thanksgiving 2019, we tried to make our own crust for a pumpkin pie,
mm.
and it went so south. It was just we were like, okay, crap, how are we gonna fix this? It basically turned into how are we gonna salvage this pumpkin
Oh,
pie, this
oh my
poor
god,
pie.
no, no.
because you have to like make the crust first and
mhm,
then you cook the pie. So we
mhm.
like had the pie crust in the oven and it ripped. It was
No. Yeah, it's just yeah, that's rough. That's real rough. But I went to a colleague's house here, somebody in my quarantine circle, and 'cause this was several months ago now, and so they were like, yeah, we're gonna teach you how to make pizza from scratch. Because I was like, okay,
Mm.
and they were like, yeah, you just get pizza stones and you put them at the bottom of your oven and you turn your oven up as high as it'll go, and then when you don't have a pizza oven, because not everybody has just money lying around to make an all brick pizza oven in their backyard.
Wait, you don't?
It's almost like Ina Garden on the Barefoot Contessa on Food Network. If
Store
you
bought
don't,
one.
if yeah, exactly. If you don't have a fully brick pizza oven sitting upright in your backyard that costs you at least $20,000, store bought is fine. It's
Well,
just like it's just like ah.
it's like, wow,
So
now I feel wholly inadequate.
exactly, wholly inadequate. So but anyway, they had these pizza stones they put in the bottom of their oven, and then like you turn the oven all the way up, and then you have to watch it because you don't know how it's going to cook, because the oven will only get I think modern ovens only get up to like five or whatever
500.
yeah 500. They only get up to 500. Yeah, so and so they were like, so you make the crust, and then so basically you mix the dough and then you make the crust like this. I said, oh, okay. And so I'm mixing dough and then I just crushed, and they were like, and then I was like this, and they were like, yeah, that's perfect. Are you sure you haven't done this before? And I was like, no, I didn't know this was right. They were like, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
we're
Yeah.
a little we're a little we're a little
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, exactly. They're like looking at me like, what? So and so then I started making milk bread loaves, and I have not bought bread in 9 months.
Look at you go.
Yeah, it's just like I haven't bought bread in 9 months. So I'm branching out from bread. I make cookies too. I'm trying to learn how to make like my own recipe for cookies from scratch. I've
Yeah.
like followed
Yeah.
other recipes,
Mhm.
chocolate chip pancakes. That's fun. From scratch. I don't any bread based or flour based product. I pretty much don't buy anymore. I try
Yeah.
to make it instead, because then I know what's in it, and then I can tweak
Right.
it. I will tell you this though: the cookies that I make, because of the recipes, are very heavy because of the butter in them.
Oh yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so much butter in cookies. If
Yeah.
you never made cookies from scratch, there's a ton of butter in cookies. So I'm gonna try to figure out a way to sort of chill that out.
Sam and I actually we saw this on an episode of The Kitchen. We just happened to be like watching TV one day and they happened to have like a Detroit style pizza recipe. And
Ooh,
we're both from the Detroit area and we're right now living in Nebraska because Sam's doing her DMA at UNL. And so we're out here and we're like, oh my God, like Detroit style pizza sounds amazing. So we went online and we found this recipe and we're like, okay, this isn't so bad to do. And it takes a couple of hours with the prep for the dough because we made the dough and all this stuff, and we made it and it turned out really good. And it's one of the recipes that we like have tucked away in a binder that we're like, yes, this is one that we're keeping.
that's
And
awesome.
we've made it a few times now, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
I'm gonna have to hit up Sam to try to figure out how to make sourdough starter, because I do want to make sourdough. The family that I that they told me I was a lot better than I thought I was at baking. I was talking to them about breads too, and she makes she makes sourdough loaves every other week, and she'll send me pictures, and she had one sliced and she sends me a picture. She goes, yeah, here's a jalapeno white cheddar sourdough loaf, and I'm just like,
Mm.
what's in there?
Right,
let
exactly.
me let me know.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
admittedly, Sam does most of the legwork for the sourdough, but she usually
mhm.
lets me score one of the loaves, like score the top of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I often put like the Harry Potter lightning bolt in it because like why not?
You just put the Deathly Hollows though. Just put the Deathly Hollows.
Next time I'm going to.
Yeah, just like
That's what I'm saying. Yep.
there you go. Tis the sign of the Deathly Hallows. No, the yeah. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, friends, you know, um, My non-binary friends, I just realized that I made that gender binary. My non-binary friends, ladies and gentlemen, and gender non-conforming friends, we are normal people.
Sometimes.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. Sometimes, most of the time, we're just crazy musicians that are just like, ah! So, but we are
Sometimes we're
normal
sitting in the
people.
back on stage and we're looking all calm and collected, but internally we're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah, it's like, the prep for a solo, you're always just kind of like, okay, 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 okay. Whew. Good God, that's literally what goes on in most people's heads. I know I just did horn because it's Brian, but like I,
Oh yeah, I mean, we get so many of those moments in the orchestral and cinema repertoire that it's just like, yeah.
so
God,
those
I
of you that don't know what that just was, because most of you probably won't, go listen to the forest battle on the Return of the Jedi
sound.
soundtrack. If you
Yeah,
have the original, that's 2 discs. It's at the end of the second disc. If you have the newer one, which is the one I think is on Spotify, I don't know what track it is, but it's the Forest Battle.
yeah. The
It's
one
it'll say the Forest Battle Concert Suite probably. It's amazing. There's a lot of horn lick in it because John Williams is just
oh,
so
he's our
John
Lord
Williams,
and Savior.
yeah. Lord and Savior of the Horn, John Williams. No, they
He's a master of just about every style.
mm-hmm.
It's incredible. He's
Mm-hmm.
incredible.
Yeah. Horn players love him. I love horn players and the horn instrument. I just, it's just match made in heaven for me. So, but thank you, each
Yeah,
and every one of you. Thank you, Brian,
of course.
for this wonderful discussion on this week's Tuesday Talk. So, as I grab my Death Star mug yet again to take my last sip, I will see all of you on the next go round. And thank you so much for tuning in. If you would like to help the Polaris Orchestra continue on our journey, please visit our website at polarisorch.org. That's polarisorch.org. Please hit that donate button and give as your heart desires. No donation is too small, for every dollar makes a difference. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to continue to share our lives and our music with you.